Between 2005 and 2008, major American companies were hit hard. Really hard. TJX, Heartland Payment Systems, 7-Eleven, Hannaford, massive data breaches, millions of credit cards, gone. But at first, it didn't look connected. Each hack, a mystery.
No fingerprints.
No malware trail.
No ransom demands.
Just card numbers flooding underground forums. And American banks bleeding money. Speech balloon, a cyber ghost is draining the economy, one investigator said. But behind the scenes, in a luxury Miami hotel suite, a young man sat shirtless, laptop glowing. Credit card dumps streamed across his screen. Hundreds, thousands,
Millions.
He was running the largest credit card heist in U.S. history. From a hotel Wi-Fi. His code name? Sunglasses, Soup Nazi. His real name? Albert Gonzalez. Albert wasn't a typical criminal. He wasn't robbing banks. He was robbing everyone, without ever stepping outside. From 2005 to 2008, he and his crew stole over 170 million credit card numbers. Yes, million. That's 1 in 5 Americans at the time. They targeted the very places people trusted most. Your local department store, your neighborhood convenience shop, the card reader you used every day. And no one even noticed. By the time the FBI realized it was all connected, Albert was already spending millions, luxury hotel parties, nightclubs, Rolexes, and, ironically, a $75,000 hacker-proof server room to hide what he stole. But here's the plot twist. Albert Gonzalez was already working for the government. He was supposed to be helping the Secret Service bust cybercriminals. They gave him a laptop. They paid him. They trusted him. But the whole time, he was running a second life behind their backs. A double agent. Laptop computer, a digital kingpin. Fire a cyber mob boss who didn't need a gun, just Wi-Fi. Albert Gonzalez, the cybercrime kingpin who robbed America one swipe at a time. This isn't fiction. This really happened. Welcome to Cyber Legends. Albert Gonzalez didn't come from the shadows. He came from Miami. Born in 1981 to Cuban-American parents chasing a better life. From the outside, he was just another kid. But inside, brain, he was a machine. He got his first computer at age 9. While other kids played games, Albert took his apart, studied the hardware, tore through lines of code like novels. By 14, he wasn't just surfing the web, he was bending it. He hacked NASA servers just to prove he could.
No ransom.
No damage, just curiosity. And he got away with it. But the world didn't reward hackers with trophies.
So Albert drifted online.
To Shadow Crew. Shadow Crew was an early dark web marketplace, where stolen identities, credit cards, and hacking tools were bought and sold. It was the Amazon for cybercrime in the early 2000s. And Albert, he didn't just join it, he took it over. Using the alias Soup Nazi, he became one of the site's top admins, managing users, providing tools, coaching new hackers. At just 22, Albert Gonzalez was already a legend in the cyber underworld. But that attention came with a price. In 2003, the Secret Service tracked down Shadow Crew. They raided homes, seized servers, and arrested Albert. Could have ended right there. 20 years in prison. Case closed. But the government had a better idea. What if they flipped him? So they offered a deal. Shield, work for us, they said. Help us catch hackers like you. Albert agreed. And just like that, the kid who hacked NASA was now working for the Secret Service. He moved to New Jersey, got an official FBI-issued laptop, and began helping bust underground forums he used to run. But here's the twist. While helping the feds by day, Albert was already building a darker empire by night. He wasn't rehabilitated. He was just getting started. Albert Gonzalez was living a lie, and living it well. On paper, he was a federal asset, helping the Secret Service bust hackers and credit card thieves, logging into dark forums, feeding intel, giving access to underground networks. But what the feds didn't know, he had kept his admin access. He had burner laptops, and he was building something much bigger behind their backs. He called it Operation Get Rich or Die Tryin'. Not a meme, a mission. Albert created a tight crew of global hackers, SQL injection specialists from Eastern Europe, wireless hijackers in the US, a Russian middleman to resell the stolen data. Together, they formed one of the most effective cybercrime syndicates the US had ever seen. From a luxury hotel suite in Miami, Albert rented full-floor setups. He installed servers inside closet walls, ran packet sniffers on major retail networks, and sniffed live credit card data from wireless payment systems. Speech balloon, "I could watch your card go from swipe to sale in real time," he once bragged. He was using government time, government devices, and government trust to rob the nation blind. He threw wild parties, popped bottles, laughed at the people who called him a reformed hacker. He was teaching the FBI how to catch cybercriminals, while becoming the biggest one of all. The government thought he had changed, that they had rehabilitated him. But Albert was gaming the system like he did firewalls, one weak point at a time. He knew how the feds worked. He knew their methods. He knew their tools because they'd given them to him. Brain, the best way to hide is in plain sight. And Albert, he was practically untouchable. Until the money got too big, the risks too bold, and his own ego began to unravel the empire. Albert Gonzalez didn't just hack a few companies. He orchestrated the largest data breach in American history, quietly, methodically, and right under the government's nose. How many cards? Credit card 170 million. That's more than half the US population at the time. Stolen, sold, spent. He didn't just hack one target. He hacked the financial bloodstream of the nation. Let's break it down. Unlocked the methods. A SQL injection. His team would inject malicious code into retail websites and databases to gain admin access. A packet sniffers. Installed malware to capture real-time data from point-of-sale systems. Cards being swiped live in stores. A backdoors. They left stealthy access points in corporate networks to return again and again. They hacked through Wi-Fi, backdoored payment processors, and quietly moved through retail giants like ghosts in the wires. The victims: TJX companies, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, over 45 million cards. A Heartland Payment Systems, over 100 million cards. 7-Eleven, Hannaford Brothers, OfficeMax, Boston Market, all compromised. No one was safe. No one even knew, until banks saw an avalanche of fraud reports. Speech balloon, we were seeing card fraud from cities where we didn't even have customers. One bank investigator said, Albert had buyers lined up in Russia, Ukraine, and beyond. He sold card dumps by the thousands, sorted by country, bank, and expiration date. Each card sold for $10 to $100 depending on type. He made tens of millions, and laundered it through shell companies, offshore accounts, and even buried it in the backyard of his parents' house. Moneybag agents found over $1.1 million in cash literally buried in plastic buckets. But the most shocking part? He didn't stop. He was already a federal informant, already under surveillance. But his operation was so well hidden, so decentralized. He kept going for years. Albert Gonzalez didn't just hack a few companies. He orchestrated the largest data breach in American history, quietly, methodically, and right under the government's nose. How many cards? Credit card 170 million. That's more than half the US population at the time. Stolen, sold, spent. He didn't just hack one target. He hacked the financial bloodstream of the nation. Let's break it down. Unlocked the methods. A SQL injection. His team would inject malicious code into retail websites and databases to gain admin access. A packet sniffers. Installed malware to capture real-time data from point-of-sale systems. Cards being swiped live in stores. A backdoors. They left stealthy access points in corporate networks to return again and again. They hacked through Wi-Fi, backdoored payment processors, and quietly moved through retail giants like ghosts in the wires. The victims: TJX companies, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, over 45 million cards. A Heartland Payment Systems, Over 100 million cards. 7-Eleven, Hannaford Brothers, OfficeMax, Boston Market, all compromised. No one was safe. No one even knew, until banks saw an avalanche of fraud reports. Speech balloon. We were seeing card fraud from cities where we didn't even have customers. One bank investigator said, Albert had buyers lined up in Russia, Ukraine, and beyond. He sold card dumps by the thousands, sorted by country, bank, and expiration date. Each card sold for $10 to $100 depending on type. He made tens of millions and laundered it through shell companies, offshore accounts, and even buried it in the backyard of his parents' house. Moneybag agents found over $1.1 million in cash literally buried in plastic buckets. But the most shocking part? He didn't stop. He was already a federal informant, already under surveillance. But his operation was so well hidden, so decentralized, he kept going for years. At the height of his reign, Gonzalez was partying in Miami, running hotel command centers, and watching his stolen card dumps flood the dark web, while laughing at the system that once trusted him. "Brain, the difference between me and them?" he once told a friend. "I read the instructions." For years, Albert Gonzalez was invisible. He'd built a digital fortress around himself. Fake names, offshore servers, anonymous buyers. But in the end, he didn't get caught by firewalls. He got caught by his own ego. While his stolen data moved in silence, Albert started getting loud. He bragged in forums, slipped up in IRC chats, used his old nickname, Supnazi, across multiple platforms. He reused passwords, linked burner accounts to old ones, and left just enough of a breadcrumb trail for someone to follow. And someone did. The Secret Service, the same agency he was helping, began to quietly investigate him. They noticed strange overlaps. The same VPN used in two different crimes. Card dump formats that matched previous busts. A fingerprint of arrogance in every breach. And the final clue? Server logs connected to a breach at Heartland Payment Systems were traced to a Wi-Fi hotspot in a Miami hotel, registered under Albert Gonzalez. In May 2008, they kicked in the door. Inside, multiple laptops running 24/7, external drives filled with millions of card numbers, cash, phones, flash drives, and a closet stuffed with servers, actively sniffing networks. They also found a handwritten notebook filled with speech balloon, how to disappear, identity forging methods, crypto laundering plans. It wasn't just a hacker's lair. It was a cybercriminal's dream bunker. Albert Gonzalez was arrested, not with a bang, but with a smirk. He thought he could still talk his way out, thought he could negotiate. But this time, there was no deal. His empire had fallen. The double life was exposed, and the FBI finally realized they had been training the very man they were hunting. 09373, 170 million credit cards, money with wings, tens of millions laundered. Man, office worker, and he did it while shaking hands with federal agents. He was the perfect modern outlaw, not because he was fearless, but because he was smarter than everyone else in the room. Until he wasn't. He left behind a cautionary legacy that hackers don't always look like villains. That trust, once broken, is more dangerous than any exploit. That one person with access can shake the foundation of the economy. So here's the real question. If you had the skills, the tools, and the access, would you use them to fix the system or to beat it? "The difference between me and the others," he once said, "is I didn't pretend I was the good guy." He wasn't chasing justice. He was chasing power. And in the end, that power cost him everything. White heavy check mark if this story made you think. Smash that like button. Subscribe for more real hacking history and untold cybercrime cases. And hit that bell so you never miss a breach.